I recently had the opportunity to travel with Elder Hallstrom to visit 5 cities in the great central area of the United States. In each of the cities we visited, we would hold a meeting with the full-time missionaries, followed by a meeting with the stake and ward leaders regarding missionary work. Between the 2 meetings, the Relief Society would prepare a light dinner for us to afford us time to meet with the stake presidents. When we reached Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 2 young families appealed to the Relief Society to let them serve the dinner to us. The 2 husbands manned the kitchen. The 2 mothers supervised the arrangements of serving the food. The 3 children handled setting the tables and the serving of the food under the supervision of their mothers. It was an opportunity for mothers to have a teaching opportunity with their children. It was very special to watch the children respond to every detail as they were taught by their mothers. They carried out their assignments completely and fully. The experience caused me to reflect on the training I had received from my mother. Like Nephi, and like so many of you, I was born of goodly parents. One of my nieces recently shared with me 4 notebooks my mother had filled with notes as she prepared to teach her Relief Society. I would imagine these notebooks, and there are others I have not yet examined, represented hundreds of hours of preparation by my mother. Mother was a great teacher who was diligent and thorough in her preparation. I have a distinct memory of the days preceding her lesson. The dining room table would be covered with reference material and notes. She was preparing for her class. There was so much material prepared, I'm sure only a portion of it was ever used at the class. But I'm just as sure none of her preparation was ever wasted. How can I be sure of this? As I flipped through the pages of her notebook, it was as if I was hearing my mother teach me one more time. Again, there was too much in her notebook for any single topic to ever be shared in a class session. But what she didn't use in her class, she used to teach her children. I believe it is even safe to say that even though my mother was an enormously effective teacher among the sisters in the Relief Society, her best teaching occurred with her children in the home. Of course, this was largely due to the great amount of time she had to teach her children compared to the time she taught the Relief Society sisters. But I also like to think she prepared so thoroughly, first, to be an example to her children of diligent church service, and second, because she recognized what she learned from preparing her lesson could be used repeatedly for a higher purpose, teaching her sons and her daughters. Please allow me to reminisce for a few minutes and share a few of the lessons I learned from my mother about teaching the gospel in the home. My mother understood the value of teaching her children about standards, values, and the doctrine while they were young. While she was grateful to others who taught her children outside the home, at either school or church, she recognized that parents are entrusted with the education of their children. And ultimately, parents must ensure that their children are being taught what their Heavenly Father would have them learn. My siblings and I were carefully quizzed after we had had a session of being taught away from home to be certain the correct lessons were reaching our ears, and shaping our minds. I used to think some days as I ran home from school, I was through learning for the day. But that illusion was quickly destroyed when I saw Mother standing at the door waiting for me. When we were young, each of us had a desk in the kitchen where we could continue to be taught by her as she performed household duties and prepared the supper. She was a natural teacher and far more demanding on us than our teachers at school and church. The scope of Mother's teacher included both secular and spiritual lessons. She made sure that none of us were falling behind in our schoolwork. She would often supplement that work. She also would practice her Relief Society lessons with us. We, of course, received the abridged version found in the notebooks, not the abridged version that would fit into a class session. Part of our learning at home also involved memorizing scriptures, including the articles of faith and the words of the prophets, seers, and revelators. Mother was someone who believed that a mind would become weak if it was not constantly being exercised. She taught us as we would wash the dishes, churn the butter, and help in many other ways. She did not believe in letting idle thoughts enter her children's mind, even while they were engaged in physical labor. I'm not using my mother as a role model for the parents in today's world. Times are very different today. But while times may change, a parent's teaching must never be devalued. Many activities linked with the values of one generation to the next, but perhaps the most central of these activities is parents teaching their children in the home. This is especially true when we consider teaching of values, morals, ethical standards, and faith. Teaching in the home is becoming increasingly important in today's world, where the influence of the adversary is so widespread, and he is attacking and attempting to erode and destroy the very foundation of our society, even the family. Parents must resolve that teaching in the home is a most sacred and important responsibility. While other institutions, such as church and school, can assist the parents to train up a child in the way